Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah, the Rainbow Hearted Witch, and today I would like to introduce you to a good friend of mine, Miss Lori.
And out came this taller man, and he came in the water and he embraced me, and I'm like, why are we here? I mean, I didn't understand. I was asking that of, what am I seeing?
Yeah.
And they said, you were in a place where the two worlds meet, and you are being honored for all that you can do together that will take your people to a higher level, or will serve your people. And then that ended, and like it was probably a couple of years later, I had a past life experience which showed me like what happened after that, which was pretty heartbreaking actually. But
What happened after that?
yeah, what happened after that was that we were married. He was a medicine man that was in training with another medicine man. What happened there was that
He was a medicine.
he was a medicine man, he was in training, and I knew he was going, and I was working with herbs. We had a little boy, maybe 3 or 4 years old, this vision I was having, and his mentor had taken him off for a quest, and they had gone up high to on one of the mesas, and come to find out, the medicine man was actually not real happy with him. He was very jealous because of what we were to do together, and he had no place in it except just to teach him. Well, he gave him some really bad whatever he gave him, and he had the wrong kind of trip, and he ended up running off the mesa, and they brought him wrapped up in blankets over a horse, and I can remember coming out as they're bringing them in and seeing that them coming in a row to where I was living. And of course I was screaming at that point, as soon as I realized what was happening, and had somebody was holding the son, and I just was screaming, and they did not want me to open the carpet. I mean, they were just like, no, you're not going to see him. And I just went ballistic, and then I came out of it. So he was the first time, he was my twin complement, my divine complement, who was I haven't been with him again since then. And that's been like 1100, 1700 years. And we were supposed to meet this lifetime, but he decided to choose differently.
What are your thoughts on twin flames?
I think there's a lot of, and it's changing. I think there's soulmates are people who you've been with in other lifetimes, who you maybe are challenged by. They're going to be the ones that I know you from somewhere, and it wasn't necessarily a love connection. It's, this person's going to challenge me to grow. It's going to be you're going to be a thorn in my side, but I'm going to grow as a person knowing you. And there might be through a love relationship, but they're not all love relationships. And then twin divine flames, I do feel that if we choose to, we can bring that into our lifetime. That tends to be the other half of you that is not necessarily compatible, but is your male to your yin to your yang and all that. I mean, it's someone that you can't be without in your lifetime, in some form.
But again, they're not necessarily romantic partners either.
It might not be a romantic.
Exactly.
It might not be, but I find that more likely than the soulmates. I mean, I guess you can be a soulmate and be a twin flame too. Not a twin flame, a divine complement. But he was supposed to come back this lifetime, and he didn't. Other than that trip, there were more just a lot of synchronicities, little things that happened along the way that you go, geez, that took a lot to set up.
Like what else? Like
that I would be, I decided to stop. I had my journey picked out once I knew where I was, and I was like, okay, I'm going to stop here for the night. Mm-hmm. And I ended up stopping at a place in near Tennessee or Kentucky. It's a really odd little place. And I was at a Best Western or something. And I was calling my family every time I stopped, because my mom was really wanting to know where I am, and I'm all alone out there traveling. So I usually would call her when I get in. So I went in and there was a car outside parked. So I went to got my room and the phone didn't work. How does a phone not work in a hotel? So I went back and they said, our phones are out. I'm like, okay. Meanwhile, my brother was calling around all around Tennessee trying to find me. He did find me. So I come out and there's this couple talking about, well, what are we going to do now? You know, we've got a dead battery. We're going, and I looked at it and their car had an Outer Banks sticker, which is where my next stop was Outer Banks. I said, would you like a jump? Can I give you a jump, you know, here and then you can go get your new battery? Oh, you would do that? I said, yeah, I would. Absolutely. And she goes, oh, well, we're out on vacation and we're headed to Woodstock, Vermont. It's like, no, no. She goes, I said, I'm headed to Outer Banks. Well, that's where I'm from. And I said, I'm from Vermont, 20 minutes from you. I said, if we get up there at the same time, check out, you know, check if I'm there and we'll go out to dinner or something. It was just little things like that, you know, you had to be right there waiting when they came out. And who 20 minutes from me.
Did you meet up with them when you got there?
I didn't because they had moved on. I
Oh.
ended up staying in Outer Banks a little bit longer than I had intended to, but I had a place to stay, so that was okay. And that place is a different kind of place energetically. If you ever get a chance to go there, people don't move on. They seem to be a lot of recycled energy there. So it's like they're just reliving their lives over and over in the same patterns. It was very interesting.
Isn't
But
that how you felt about Sedona as well? Is that
yes, but I felt Sedona was a healing place to go, do your work, and then leave. Don't get mixed up in the constant thing of continually doing your work. You're doing your work because you're just releasing it and then taking on everybody else that dumps their stuff. I mean, it's a place where healing's done, but it was never intended to be a place to settle. But everybody that usually found themselves in their ego and working it out. So I didn't want to stay there, but I love visiting there. I
so?
love the little bookstores.
Yeah, I love like hanging out in Sedona, but it's definitely changed a lot, and it's not the same energy vibe as it used to be. And
Yeah.
talked about it with other healers in Phoenix, and they feel that the actual healing energy has shifted from Sedona to actually like Prescott Valley area. There's more
I like
healing.
Prescott.
Yeah, there's more healing taking place there rather than in Sedona. It's almost like too commercialized now and too,
Well, it's been too used and dumped on.
yeah.
You know, it's got to recycle before it cleanse itself. But yeah, no, it wasn't quite the same. Even the second time I went out, because I always try and stop certain places, and I love that place. And I don't like driving Oak Creek Canyon though.
No, yeah,
It's like I don't like switchbacks.
no, that's not fun.
Nope. So that was that trip,
Oh, can I ask? So I've heard there's a healer online who's, who states that she feels that sacred sites are actually places where are used to entrap souls. Do you get that feeling?
no.
Yeah,
Not I mean, not by a lot of places. Yes, I think there are some out there that are, let's say, built to, as with any of the non-beneficial energies, they're to draw you there and then feed on you.
right.
Like, you know, that there is that. But I think you know when you go if it's one of those places or not. And I haven't been around enough to go to places that are like that. I've been very blessed in the places and trips that I've taken. Like I said, I didn't stay in Sedona long because I just felt that a lot of people got stuck in the same pattern of doing just continually looking for healing for them, how to heal themselves. and that they're never done. And I think that's not true. I think you can be done.
Really? You do? I was gonna say, are we ever really done? Because I feel like we're humans, so we're always gonna be like
But
healing.
no, we're not always.
No?
We're human in this consciousness, but we're not in others. And who's to say this isn't your last life?
I see where
You
you're
may not. You may not think you've learned enough, but you might have. You just
oh,
might. This is not an easy place to be.
so you're not talking about like our human form. You're talking about our yeah, I agree with that. Like that our soul stops, there's enough lessons that we've learned over thousands of years. We don't
Then
need,
we do something different.
yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, totally 100%. But I'm like, as a human, don't we always have to be healing because it is so rough here? There's so many challenges.
No, I don't think so. I think at a certain point, the earth says we're going to try something different. And you all are welcome back in another frequency. But I've put off enough growing for you guys. It's, your time is now mine. So I do think that it will. I have a real hard time with the 3D because so many people say, well, there's another planet to go to. Others say, you're going to just disappear. And I'm like, doesn't have to be like that at all. I mean, they say fourth dimension is just above us. So fifth and sixth and seventh is just above that. We're all in the same space because there is no time and space.
Right.
So everything is existing this way. It's just layered. So your friend, you might stay on here and just your consciousness is operating at a different frequency, which will only change things around you. You might not have you the Mandela effect. So
Yeah.
maybe you're only experiencing certain things of the Mandela. I mean, that's kind of like, okay, you've shifted because now this is a Mandela effect and it wasn't before.
Yeah, I mean seriously, like we shift all the time. We're always shifting. Like there's always new Mandela effects always. And I'm like, okay, even in my personal life, I'm like, that's not right.
Well, and there's timelines too.
Right.
There's timelines above and below and in the center of neutral, and that's where I try to stay, is in a sacred neutral, because one is the lower into the material and one is way up into the spiritual, and never the meet. It's the one where you're sacred neutral, I think, is the one that progresses.
What do you think the role of conspiracy theories plays in the spiritual community?
That's not you expect me to answer that in 5 minutes? um you know for the longest time, I had such a hard time with the conspiracy theories because I do believe, I don't see them. I see what the government's doing as the conspiracy against the rest. It's the elite against everybody else. And so, who are those elite? Well, they're the Illuminati. They're who other bunches that are out there. There are some that are non humanoid, but not to this planet. I mean, they are, and they have been in control for a long time. And so now that control is shifting, and everything's is in the chaos right now of shifting and changing and going back to our sovereignty, where we are the sovereign beings. We are not sovereign. We don't give our sovereignty over to the government. And so I think that's what's awakening in this, is our memories of being sovereign beings and what that means. So I think we're waking up to what the governments have created for themselves, to benefit themselves. And I think, not saying that there aren't good people in government, but most of them are ignorant as to the purpose of the government. That's one big, big, big scroll that you got to open up when you talk about the conspiracy theories going on. Because to me, it's an elite thing. It's not a Republican, Democrat. They're all working together, and they're working against the average people. And I think we're starting to see that, at least from my perspective. I'm starting to see that with other people starting to awaken to that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But nothing, I don't think there's going to be anything that moves until disclosure, until we see how long they've been lying and what they've been lying about comes out. Disclosure is a huge part of that.
Hmm.
And hopefully someday that'll happen.
It's so interesting. It's like, I don't know why people need to hear it from, that's just another aspect of us as humans giving our power away, of being like, we have to hear it from an official. We have to hear it from, like, why? Why do you have to hear it from an official? Why do you have to hear it from someone in authority? Like, can't you just, look, open your eyes?
Look at what they're covering up because they're scared.
I know. No.
Or to me, here's the thing, the big thing is they're not in that range of consciousness yet. They're started out a little lower, and so they're still, you've got to raise your consciousness to have the truth come out. You're going to be in this dense, that's why all the wars are kept in dense areas, is to keep it denser, because there's actually energy underneath that is trying to come out and open the area to the spiritual. And if you keep the negativity and over it, it can't open. But it's going to be opening. I mean, we're not waiting anymore. It's just not as quick as we want it to be. And it's very difficult for people who consider themselves light workers, because this is the time we've been waiting for. And it's not going to look like what we've been waiting for. It's not going to look like that. We just have to trust. And really, I've kind of given the government and all that stuff the back seat. I don't pay attention as much as I used to, because I'm not going to give it any energy.
Right. That's why
It,
you don't watch the news, don't read the paper, just
but I do think you have to be somewhat observant, because I think you need to know where to put your energy. And you don't want to put your energy in something that appears light filled but is not.
Mm-hmm.
So you first of all have to work a lot of getting over your fears and understanding, and that's going to come with a vibrational raise as well. Come with an understanding of what's going on, of why this is all happening, is to give our sovereignty back to us, or claim it anyway. Things used to be, things are after 2 or 3 generations are forgotten, because there's nobody there to keep the ball rolling and keep the knowledge in generation. And so things that happened in the 1913 or whatever, things that happened then, we don't remember. Like all our licensing and of cars and different fees that we've had were put out there for us to pay for the war. The whole, I remember learning about conscription when I was in high school, and you learned that when the war was over, this money was all to be paid back.
It never
It
did.
never happened.
And that's
And then the next war, and then we had the next war. And then when we had that war got over, then they called it the Vietnam War. And then when that war was over, it's the war on drugs.
yeah.
Or the war on, it's never going to be over until somebody stands up and starts telling the truth. And it's so obvious right now. It's so obvious. I don't understand why people can't see. And then I said it's because they're not above the consciousness that truth is available to them yet. When they start getting into seeing, okay, there's the Illuminati. Oh, nope, they're the Republicans. And oh, they're the Democrats. No, they're both. But once they've labeled it and given a label to one of those groups, they become fear mongers. Next thing you know, they're oh my God, we got to watch them. We got to watch this. This is what they're doing. And they don't realize that their side's doing the same thing. But you have to wait, because you're going to go through that stage. And when you get through that stage, then you start to see, oh, wait a minute, it's both of them. They're working together to make me believe this. And one saying this and one saying that. So who am I supposed to believe? Well, you're supposed to go inward for that. And
Right.
people don't. They listen because we're conditioned not to.
Yeah. Exactly. We are. That's school is to indoctrinate you,
Church,
not listen to yourself. So
yeah,
it's, we're all confused and lost, and that's why we have issues with addiction. Like we're so cut off from our own bodies, especially. I mean,
mhm,
that's what it feels like our whole first 18 years of our life is to cut you off from your emotions, from your body, from your feelings, from yourself. And so then you go out and you're like, oh, well, you know what? This rock is gonna fulfill me, or, you know, these incense or drugs or whatever it is. So, that's why you see it seems like in the spiritual community, it's like there's a lot of addictive personalities because anything can become an addiction because you give your power away. And we just like
mhm.
you get to that point where on your spiritual path, you realize you don't need any tools, you don't need any tarot cards or oracle cards or gemstones. They're just physical representations of what you're trying to accomplish, which is to reconnect with your soul, with your emotions, with yourself, because we do have all the answers. And it's like when you're first starting out, you're like, I don't have any of the answers. I don't know. I need to go ask this person, and I need to go here, and I need to go there. And yeah, that helps. But
It's still looking outside of yourself.
right,
So what you say is, okay, this is what I'm seeing right now. I need some validation. So I'm putting out there that I'm going to receive the validation before I move on it, so that I know that this is true for me. And it usually will happen. I haven't found it not happen. Another one person who I work with now, she says any feeling that you have that is less than contentment is an unhealed aspect of you coming up to be healed, because we are supposed to be naturally loving, naturally, and it's not just this lifetime that we carry with us, it's all our lifetimes on planet whatever, that was in our field, in our hologram. Everything we have experienced as a soul, we have access to. It's not just the sadness or abandonment I might have felt in this lifetime. It's one where I went into a lifetime on this planet and I was treated horrible and abandoned on that. So if you're thinking our souls are eternal, we've got a hell of a lot of stuff that we haven't healed yet, because we're only thinking we have to heal this lifetime or heal other lifetimes we've had as earthlings. But no, we're actually working on in-depth stuff of a lot of more than I ever thought. Because what I'm finding working with my friend is every thought I have is now a trigger for some aspect of me out there. Meaning, if I have, it's not necessarily. I said, but I don't feel that way. I'm not angry with that. And she goes, no, you're not. But you've had 700 lives where you have been angry at that. And so we need to take that anger and let it out and change it, shift it from the moment it's source all the way through. So we've been doing that, and that's been really interesting. You're not just this lifetime. It's not just your last lifetime. It's for us to make that deep a move in our consciousness, it's got to be everything.
right.
And so I'm really enjoying that, because I'm finding out there's thoughts. My nails. I've never had nails before. I've always bit my nails since I was a kid.
Oh,
And I looked down one day and I'm like, oh my God, I have nails. And I mean,
yeah, I can see
and I'm like, I must have healed what it was in one of our sessions, healed what it was that was making me bite my nails for 58 years. And now I don't touch them. I don't like it when it breaks, but I don't touch them. And I'm like, that was such a good indication to me that I've healed something.
right,
The other thing is I don't have these thoughts anymore. The self-talk, the negative self-talk, there's things I haven't thought of in a long time that I used to think of all the time.
mhm,
So I know there's shifting going on and healings going on with aspects of me, and I'm just more content. I'm happier than I've been in the last 5 years.
that's
So
good.
it's yeah, it is good. It is good considering things are moving, starting to move. and that heals that as well. So now things are starting to move in a very positive way, which I'm ready for because I'm ready to do my work,
Right.
wherever that's going to be. I know it's got to do with the gate.
Yeah, I'm excited for you because you're such an amazing healer and you hold such amazing space. And so
Thank you.
I'm excited for you to, really get yourself out there as a healer and get the
Facilitator.
facilitator. Yeah. You guys, you have to like experience Lori's energy. It's so healing. It's so loving too. She has such a big heart. Thank you, Lori, so much. I appreciate you taking the time and
Well, I'm so glad we got back in contact, and that in itself is a synchronicity.
yes.
That was an odd thing that happened, but I'm very grateful.
Me too. I'm grateful you're in my life still, Lori. It's been years and I'm happy you're still in my life.
Me too.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching my video. I had so much fun uploading it. I upload videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Check them out. I also have a Buy Me a Coffee if you would like to support this channel monetarily. So the links are down below, and I will see you all next week. Bye guys.